Well, good afternoon, traders. Thanks for joining today's guest speaker webinar. As always, my name is Keith here with SharkIndicators. We've been involved in the NinjaTrader ecosystem since 2011, providing tools like Bloodhound and Blackbird that help traders be more productive and in control of their own trade systems. We're always looking for ways to add to the trader's toolkit, and this guest webinar and Shark Week is part of that mission. Before I pass it off, let's take a quick look at risk disclosure. Futures, foreign currency, and options trading contain substantial risk and is not for every investor. And of course, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Rob Mitchell is president of Axiom Research and Trading Inc. and the mother company to IndicatorSmart.com. Rob has been the largest E-mini S&P trader in the world at various times and has won the prestigious Robbins World Cup E-mini Trading Championship. He has been a trading system developer for over 3 decades. He is a proven researcher, trading system developer, trading educator, presenter, and mentor, helping others to achieve their dreams as traders. Seems like a good fit for today. So Rob, go ahead and unmute, share your screen, and we can get started.
Thanks, Keith, for the nice introduction. Welcome to the webinar, guys. Shark Week. Yeah, thank you for coming. And we got a lot of cool stuff to cover today. Easy and actionable order flow analysis for day traders. And plus, we're going to work with a lot of trading concepts that can make a difference in your trading and more. First off, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. There's a risk of loss trading futures. Don't use the grocery money for trading. A little about me. I began trading. My mother was like addicted to the stock market. It's all she ever talked about. And so I grew up in an environment where this is just what was going on. And so it was just natural for me to begin trading. I took my first trades in 1979. And then I think by 1981 or so, I had been trading in options. By 1993 or 94, I started trading in futures, and then it just went from there. So this has been a passion of mine. I developed my first automated trading systems back in 1991. Back then, there wasn't any software for doing that. And so I developed my own. I would have programmed my database to go pick up data every 15 minutes, and we developed the trading systems from there, pattern-based trading, and I've been doing it ever since, and I just love it. Yeah. So now in this webinar, I'm going to show you a lot of easy techniques for reading order flow at a glance, but we're going to cover some other things first. I'm also going to show you where it can work and where it won't work and where it might even be the opposite. Yeah. I'm also going to share, as mentioned, quite a few insights from all the trading system development that I've been doing since really 1991 and a whole bunch of other cool things for traders. My intent in these events is to give you things that you can use to build good trading systems. This is a Shark Indicators event, and so most of the people doing this are interested in building good trading systems. Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons why I want to do that. In addition, I want to share with you solid trading system development concepts. Yeah. So at the end of the event, I'll give you some resources and special offers. So stick around for that. And then I'll also tell you about an amazing trading system signal webinar event that we have coming up actually later this week. And I want to make sure that you attend that if you can, because there will be a lot of good material there for you as well. I've been running a trading room. This goes hand in hand with what we're doing here. I've been running a trading room for 11 years. I got asked to do it. At first, I didn't really want to do it. And then I found that it was really a good thing for me. But it took me a long time to learn to teach traders. And one of the biggest realizations that I had along the way was each trader will see and understand things a little differently, even though it's just a simple thing. And so this has been one of my biggest personal lessons, is how can I explain things in a way that people get it, because it's not always the same thing. And so I'll explain things in different ways very often. But my hope is that within this webinar, with all the things that we're going to cover here today, that maybe a few things will be useful to you. Yeah. But the other concepts that maybe don't seem useful, maybe I'll plant a seed for the future there for you. Yeah. So any one of the things that I'm going to show you could be many years of learning behind it. Yeah, there's nothing superfluous about it. And then later in the webinar, I'm going to focus more in detail on very specific order flow and trend concepts that can also help a lot. Yeah, so how time impacts traders. This is a super interesting subject, and it's particularly relevant to markets that move really fast like these days. Yeah, how does time impact traders? Is it possible for your rational mind, that's the one that does like math and logical analysis, to be in the present tense while you're trading? There was a super interesting book called The User Illusion, written by author Tor Nordstranders, and extremely well-researched book, super fascinating. Not necessarily suggesting that you read it, though you could if you want to, but he reveals how the rational mind cannot be in the present tense. It's usually operating at about a half a second behind the current. Well, when you start getting markets that are moving where decisions are being made in fractions of a second, that's going to become a problem. So a lot of traders will notice, well, they're always like seem like they're behind. Yeah, it's a natural experience. Well, that's because it's built in. Yeah. So for this reason, a lot of people seek out automated trading solutions like Bloodhound and Blackbird that can help with this kind of a thing. So who else is aware of these kinds of things? Professional athletes, anybody who ever played golf or took, a free throw in basketball or something, knows that if you're thinking about it, you're probably in trouble. Yeah. And so trading needs to be understood from a natural frame of mind. And the way that you do that is you get rehearsed about it. Yeah. So when it comes to actual trading, not having an automated system do it for you. Yeah. So a lot of traders can get caught in this place, and it can prevent them from having success for sure, with never even having anything reveal itself to you as to why it may be happening. Super important. And in a while, I'll give you a resource for expanding your capabilities with respect to this issue. What can you see and when can you see it? So in the beginning, the evolution of a trader will look at a chart and they'll go, oh, I see the trades on the chart. You're looking at the chart in the past tense. Yeah. Oh, I can see the trade on the chart. Oh, I would have traded here. I would have traded here. I would have traded here. I would have traded there. Yeah. This is where the signals would be, quote unquote. Yeah. But it takes more than that. Yeah. After you do that for a while, you learn to see trades as they happen, not after the fact, maybe on a live chart. But you need more than that. And then eventually you learn to see trades before they happen. And that's where you start getting into that time thing that we were just talking about. But it takes more than that too. Why? Because you need to be able to place orders before they happen and at your desired price or better. Yeah. And then becomes the perfection of execution. And this is a normal like evolution of a trader dealing with these sorts of things. And even if you're building automated trading systems, you need to be dealing with these kinds of things. Yeah. So if you're doing this manually, we've got a thing at Indicator Smart Trade Entry Assistant, lightning fast, and enables you to place the orders in advance. Or you can automate that with Bloodhound or Blackbird. Yeah. When and what to code. So a lot of people come to me, they go, oh, I just, got laid off. I've never traded before, and I'm going to code up a trading system. Well, my first trading system that I ever developed, I had some stuff that basically worked, but the one that really worked that sent me into hyperspace took me about 7 years to develop that because I just didn't know what I was doing. I just didn't know what I was doing. And part of what this webinar is about is showing you things that can work. So do you just start coding or do you get all the details first? Yeah. So it's fun to code in Bloodhound. Yeah, and then you get to see it on the screen and stuff like that. Very cool. Yeah. But if you're going to be serious about coding a trading system, you probably want to make sure that you don't get the cart before the horse. I understand the guy that contacted me is laid off, was trying to solve a problem, right? He's trying to solve a problem. But usually there are very specific reasons why a trading system works. So you probably want to have some ideas about the details. Me anymore, I used to have coding fascination, like I just mentioned, but then anymore, if I'm going to code anything, I'm going to make sure I have it absolutely clear in my mind so that when I code, there's like no question. I just go in and I code it and I'm done. Yeah. So no more coding fascination for me, but it is fun. So exploring in that area can be good. I also like to use Bloodhound a lot as a research tool. Yeah. So that's a different application. Yeah. There are ways to export data and trades from Bloodhound for analysis. We have a product, trade markers, that interfaces with Bloodhound. You can grab the trades there and do very powerful statistical analysis and let you know what the landscape of what your trading system is doing with a lot of details. Yeah. So if I had the decades to do over again, I'd probably work out the details first. And because successful trading systems, more often than not, they're simple. More often than not, they're super simple, and they exploit a known anomaly in the market, such as order flow anomalies that we're going to be covering a little bit later. The devil is in the details is the saying, and there's a lot of truth in that. So what's the minimum it takes to be successful? A lot of traders think, oh, well, I'm a trader, and they're clicking like 40,000 times a day. Yeah. That's usually not how success happens. So how many, you ask the question, how many trades a day do you need to be successful? And the answer is like one or two. Yeah. So if you're new to trading and you're developing it as a trader, it might be useful to think in terms of not just trading broadly, but to ask the exact, what's the exact right trade at the exact right time, the one. And by narrowing your focus down to that, you're asking yourself, at the moment that you're taking your trade, is this the one? And then once you get that down and you've contextualized where it is that you're trading, then you can allow yourself to repeat that. And if you do that, it'll save you, I've found it saves traders a whole lot in their evolution as a trader. Going from noob to master trader. So if you could only take one trade a day, what would it be? And then expand from there. That's the idea. Yeah. What kind of read is that? Yeah. So what are the two main types of order flow reading? Okay. Going with and trapping. You could also categorize that as divergent and non-divergent if you wanted to. Today we're going to do this webinar on a going with pattern. We're going to look at places where order flow is super strong in the counter. Yeah, and in the near future we're going to do, I had already mentioned this, we're going to do an event on trap traders later this week. I'll give you some details on that a little bit later. Okay. What big decision do traders make without even knowing they're making a really big decision? When you set up a chart, you're choosing a bar type and you're choosing the scale of that bar depending on what it is. It could be a 5-minute chart, it could be a 300 tick bar chart, a 250 volume chart, etc., etc. The problem with those traditional bar types is like minute bars, volume bars, tick bars, etc., is that those bars close at random within their range. They don't close at extremes. So what ends up happening there is you're actually feeding your indicators data that has a randomized component to it. Like for example, a 5-minute bar closes at its extreme like 12% of the time or something like that. Yeah. So you really don't want that. You really want to have bars that are closing on order flow pressure or price pressure. one of the two, or momentum pressure, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah. So which kind of bars are range oriented? Well, Renko bars are, yeah. And the thing that can be nice about a Renko bar is that all the bars are the same height. So what it does is, particularly for order flow or momentum reading, is it scales each change in momentum or order flow to a specific range. Yeah. So what it does is it normalizes the reading that you get on them, and that can be very, very useful. Yeah. There are other kinds of bars that you can use, order flow related bars like the ultimate order flows and the ultimate tick bars. That's a little beyond the subject today, but today we're going to be using Renko related bars where the ranges are fixed. Yeah. So what do balloons what do balloons have to do with trading? Yeah. What's the significance of being inside or outside or in a space or counter space and at edges on your chart? Yeah. Well, where does the energy come from? Does it come from the inside or the outside for any given situation? So, like, if you're a kid and you're standing there with your balloon and you let it, you accidentally let it go and it goes up into the sky. Yeah. Or you're at the beach and you push the balloon down underwater. In one, it's pushing, and in the other it's pulling. So these can be really important distinctions or classifications for traders, whether or not you're pushing or pulling. And my very first trading systems were based on this exact concept. Yeah. So in the charts we're about to look at, like I said, we're going to use a Smart Super Renko trading bar, and we're going to look at and define the inside or the counter space and the outsider spaces. And these areas are important on a chart because they define areas where traders make decisions and where parties and counterparties act. So trading decisions and related analysis made at these areas may be different depending on what you're doing. Yeah, so you want to be very specific about this if you're inside or outside. Yeah, inside or outside. So I made a chart here that just gives some examples of that. This market extends lower here out into a space. It's not in the space to the left of it. It's gone out in a new space, and then this comes back into a counter space. And then it comes down here and it makes a new low, and it's in space. Yeah. And then it comes back into the counter space again, and then it takes out this other side, which puts it into space, comes back into a counter space, makes a space and a new high. So what I'm doing is I'm actually just looking at the price action. Am I making new highs or new lows? But I'm classifying it by space and counter space, yeah, which makes me think about it a little differently than just, oh, that's a high or a low. Yeah, this one takes out this low over here, so it's a counter space, and then it comes, or a space, and then it comes back in the counter space, and it makes a new high here, makes space, comes back inside, etc. Yeah, this kind of a concept can be very useful for reading order flow, and also what I had said before, inside, outside for the order flow, etc. So what are the poles, and what do you know? Yeah, and do you know what the poles are? So like anytime you've got these kinds of things going on that we just discussed, you've got two more sides to each one of them. So you got the inside and the outside, but then you got the long and the short of it. Yeah, so you always want to ask yourself the question, what are the other three poles that because a lot of traders get themselves in trouble, yeah, because they're only paying attention to one pole. Yeah. So if you're only paying attention to one pole, there's three-fourths of them you don't know. That's not good. Yeah. You want to know what the other things are. Yeah. So pro traders will know the counter probabilities for inside and at edges, or just a general idea that they may find what we call counterparties there, which we're going to cover a little bit about that in a minute. Yeah. So if you only know one, what's your baseline probability? 25%. And that's presuming there aren't more, and a lot of times there are. So this concept can be super useful in other contexts. Like I said, you can apply this to order flow and momentum as well. And the pattern that we're going to do today involves an inside reference in order flow, and we're going to cover that a little bit more. I'm just kind of planting a seed for what we're going to be doing in a few minutes. So what comes before price expansion? Like if you're going to look at a chart and you can't see off to the right, what kinds of things tend to happen before the price expands? Yeah. You could also ask what time of the day or in respect to other possible counterparties that this could be happening, these kinds of things. So what are two types of indicators that can signal before the market expands? Just indicators that are working from the inside, not ones necessarily that are working like support and resistance. Yeah. It might be useful to know what the market might look like before. And one of the things that indicates what comes before price expansion is momentum. You'll generally see a expansion in the cycle before you get an expansion in the price. Yeah. Yeah. Cycle expansion begets range expansion. I could put it in that English phrase. Yeah. So what's another one? Order flow. Yeah. So if you're reading order flow, and you're going to see as we cover this little system that I made for you guys using 4-quadrant methods, we're going to see how the order flow comes before price expansion. Yeah. So now we've done past webinars with the momentum. Yeah. And so today we're going to do this one with the order flow. And what's cool about the way that we present the order flow is we do it in a simple triangular visual format, yeah, which you're going to see in a minute. So how's that different from traditional order flow reading? Well, most traditional order flow reading methods have like a ladder, right? And the ladder shows everything locked to the ticks, but you can't see if the order flow is actually blown out the price itself. Yeah. And so you can't really see the divergence within that unless you're doing like some kind of logical operations in your mind, which as we covered earlier might be a problem. So it's super important to be able to just like glance at the order flow and know what you're reading with it. Yeah. So it's good to be specific or scientific so that it's repeatable. Yeah. So let's talk for a minute about real trend determination. I'm introducing this concept of irreducibility. What's the most simple way to analyze trend? Well, price action, right? If it's cycling higher and it's staying, the counter spaces or the inside parts aren't taking out the other side, then that's a really good way to define trend. Yeah. Because ultimately what you want to have happening is you want a group of traders to be defending your position and supporting your trade. Yeah. So you don't want a counterparty to trade against you. Yeah. And we're going to keep hitting on this subject from different angles here. Yeah. So, so number one would be the price action. What's the price action? It's what gets fed to your indicators. And then next up would be momentum and order flow. Yeah. You could also use average things that purport to be averages or similar to do a trend as well. And you could also combine these. Yeah. So today I'm going to show you a really cool way of using momentum to understand trend. Yeah. So the trend itself becomes what we call a pattern classification because when you classify that, we have a recent research project in our trading room that shows certain specific patterns have like an 84% rate to follow through on that alone. Yeah, on that alone. But you add order flow and momentum and things like that to it, you can kick that up a good bit. So we're going to look at a chart in a minute. So the order flow trading patterns I'm about to show you is directly related to the original article published about 5 years ago in Traders World magazine. These patterns, when you use them right, in the way that I'm going to suggest to you, can yield excellent results. They've stood the test of time. They still work today. And the reason that they still work today is connected with that concept that I just brought up of irreducibility. You can't take it down any further. When you know what the minimum is, but you can't go any further down, then if it's not working just right, you can figure out why. But if there's 14 reasons or 14 degrees of freedom within what you're looking at, it's almost impossible to figure out how to fix something that's gone wrong. So So what we're going to do is we're going to ask the question, what's the irreducible shape on a two-dimensional chart? And the answer is a triangle. Yeah. So there's two kinds of order flow, as we mentioned, the two types of order flow reading, going with and trapping. And today we're going to do going with. And for those who've been around a few times or that have these tools, that are familiar with the trap trader oscillator and the smart dynamic zones and the 3D pattern and the sequence that leads to it, that these are all related to that. Yeah, for those who have been around for a while and know this stuff. Yeah. So what's the easiest order flow method to simply see? I'm going to introduce to you the idea of defended order flow reading. Yeah, using simple triangles on the two-dimensional chart. A triangle is an irreducible shape in a two-dimensional plane. Oh no, we're going to geometry class. I'm going to start making you guys do like least common denominators and stuff like that, if you remember your algebra class. Yeah. So when order flow is defended, it's because it's being pulled in the opposite direction. That goes back to like the balloon. Yeah. The balloon changing its size with changes in pressure. So you release the balloon, it goes up in the air, and the balloon gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it explodes. You don't want to wait till the balloon explodes to get in the trade. Yeah. And you don't want to wait until you put the balloon under the water. You don't want to wait until the balloon collapses and gets smashed to get in the trade. Yeah. So different themes and variations of inside and outside. So like in the coming slide, we're going to use the trap trader oscillator to observe order flow in these triangle patterns. Yeah. So this is the trap trader oscillator right here in this panel. Okay. And I've got my spaces and my counter spaces over here. Yeah. I've got my spaces and my counter spaces over here. When this order flow leads out over here and then comes back inside, and it doesn't take out more than half of this one to the left, I call that defended. I call that defended. Yeah. And so I expect it to go higher. And the oscillator takes out a new high, the trap trader oscillator comes back down, forms a triangle right there. Yeah. But it went too far. Yeah. And then it comes back up, and then it comes back down, and it's defended again. Now, I can use these same concepts with the momentum. I can use the same concept with the order flow, and I can use the same concept with the price. All simple triangles, irreducible, super important, and or useful, yeah, and or useful. Defended order flow. Okay, so why is the TTOA cool? What's unique about trap trader oscillator? It turns complex order flow patterns into simple geometries that you can see at a glance. It's lockstepped to price. In the mode that we're using it in, you can unlockstep it to price. That's cool too, but that's a whole different animal. Yeah. So it's easy to see the relationship between what came first in the top panel is the price action. You'll see the relationship between the order flow and the price action. I'm using a Renko bar which scales the order flow to the price movement, as we discussed earlier. Yeah. And this bar choice and its relationship to order flow is super intentional and scaled. Yeah. So that's what you get. Trap Trader Oscillator has special outputs to make coding in SharkIndicators Bloodhound easy. Yeah. Things that would have been really complicated to code in Bloodhound can be done easily, depending on what patterns that you're doing. Yeah. And it's the only order flow indicator that I know of, that we know of, that can show where the order flows out of bounds, as I mentioned a minute ago. Yeah, so we're going to observe this defended order flow regions in the direction of the trend. Yeah, as we go. I'll cover a couple other things first. Yeah, some more concepts for aspiring master traders. Yeah, how to win every time if you get this right. Yeah. So the question is, what is the single most important thing about your trade? And the answer is, you don't carry your trade to success. Somebody else has to do it. In that respect, trading is what? It's a collaborative effort. You know, it's a collaborative effort. And so you want to make sure you're not having a counterparty, or that you're not firing your trade into a direct counterparty. This is actually a pretty big subject. Yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into it. But who are the key players aside from the ones who define the current trend? So that, like that little chart we looked at a few minutes ago, in the spaces, in the spaces, and not in the counter spaces, you will tend to find counter trend players there. Yeah. So who are the predominant parties? Well, any of these could do it. Yeah, floor pivot players, depending on the day. Market profile players, depending on the day and the way it opens. Day level players, prior day's range extremes. VWAP players, commercial traders, spreads in contracts, things like that. Immediate structural trend players, that's what we're talking about, today, for the most part. 30-minute trend players, 30-minute edge players, those are the ones that'll fade you when you get out into the space part of it, or the outside. 30-minute counter players. Which could be the same, those two. So it's important to know which ones presently dominate and when they're on your side or not. So as a general rule, you want to be trading. The way that you can get clear of most of that is don't be trading on the outsides. You want to trade on the insides where there's room to grow before you hit a counterparty. And then you want to manage your trades with Blackbird or however. And make sure that you're protected once you get to those kinds of areas, and hopefully you get a runaway trade, a few times a day, a couple times a day. So because you don't want to fire just into the trade and then find out that there's a counterparty present as soon as you place the order. So you want to do this stuff in the future. You don't want to do it in the past. You don't want to click the button and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You don't want to be doing that. So for this, I generally use like a 30-minute chart. Like I said, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. Basic support and resistance and counterparty chart. What traders like to do, they like to trade inside. This is like prior day's range extreme. These S1 guys went from the pivot to S1. These guys are going to try to drive it back up to the pivot. Pretty high probability they're on your side, but they'll become a counterparty when they get here. That's just one example. And so this is a chart that I use from the trading room each day, and can be super useful. Super useful, as it kind of tells you who's on my side and who's not. So what the heck is a pattern class, and why do you want to know about it? Okay, so why do we want to pattern classify our trades? We just talked about pattern classifying things as in terms of inside or outside. We talked about pattern classifying things in terms of trend. We're pattern classifying things in terms of our bars. Because if you have everything pattern class and you got it reduced down, you got a pretty good idea that there's nothing that could be making your system not work. If it's a proven system that that works. So given any trading pattern, there could be a lot of themes and variations, but we want to do a pattern that's very intentional. We don't want to mix and match things that don't belong together. You don't want to take apples and oranges. That's the problem with a lot of trading systems. Where okay, we got the moving average and you got the CI and you got this, stochastic and all this stuff, and you just throw it together into a hodgepodge. Good trading systems generally aren't designed that way. They keep each of the things separate. This is an extremely important concept, and the system that we're doing today will do it just like that. So make sure your pattern that you're trading is one exact case. Variations are separate. Why? So you can fix it if it's not working. Super important, and other benefits as well, like it'll work, whereas the other probably won't. So will any fill do? No, not fill. So will any fill do? How important is it to get your number on your fills? Well, if you tested the strategy for fills at a certain level, you want to make darn sure that you get those fills when you do the trading. So super important. I told you about Smart Trade Entry Assist. That can help you do it. Blackbird can help you do it. Bloodhound can help you do it. You got to make sure you get your number. Super important. This helps to solve other issues in whole or in part. having to do with the capacity to be in real time, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I have a course I developed that can help you to deal with being in the present tense in your mind. Yeah. You can go over to manifesting your future. I'll give you a resource for this a little bit later and show you how you can get this. This is very cool, how your mind works. Yeah. So we'll cover that in a minute. So when does any good system or strategy not work? And the answer is when you're in an abnormal context. Yeah. So understanding normal and not is critical to good trading. Yeah. So, you know, you suddenly, like for example, this morning in crude oil, suddenly I get like 35 bars with zero price change in it on a ultimate order flow bar. Yeah. What do I know there? I know somebody's entering the market very aggressively and that's abnormal trading situation. So what do? I will wait for it to become normal again before trading. Or if the price has been trading in like a 20 tick range and suddenly it goes 75 ticks all in one run, that's not normal. Yeah, it's not normal. So you trade from normal to abnormal and not the other way around. That simple concept in itself can save you tons. Yeah. Okay, let's do the system. Let's do the system, and then we'll take some questions and stuff if we have any. Yeah. So, okay, we're going to take everything we got that we've covered implicitly or explicitly, because some of the things that I mentioned, you might be like, well, what's that got to do with it? I promise it does. So let's put it together using defended order flow charts. Yeah, here's the rules. Okay, using the smart momentum, we're going to use a smart momentum color as the trend. 3-bar smart momentum color trend. Okay. What I did was I coded that up in Bloodhound, which is cool. You know, makes it easy to see it. And then we're going to trade defended trader oscillator departures with the price cycle. What are we doing when we're doing these things? We're taking several separate things and we're putting them together, but we're not putting them together in a hodgepodge. We're keeping them separate. Each one stands on its own. Yeah, each one stands on its own as an input to the final result. So the defended occurs when the departure has not taken out more than half the prior TTOA departure. We already covered that. We're going to cover it again. Day session trading only with a 16 tick stop on the ES. We're going to use the ES for this one. Yeah. So what's this look like? Hey, these background colors right here are Bloodhound. And it's just showing when the momentum changes color. Bloodhound, 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 red, green, red, green, red. Yeah. Just the background colors are the trend. And what am I looking for? I have a departure here. And then it turns where it has not taken out more than half of that while this is red. Oops. Yeah, while this is red. Yeah. So that's the trade. Yeah. That's the trade. Yeah. Here it's red, but it doesn't fire because it took out more than half. Here it didn't take out more than half, but it hadn't quite turned green yet. Yeah. How about this one? Is this defended? It kind of is, but I said 50%, so I didn't mark that one. Yeah. 50%, so I didn't mark that one. How about this one? It takes out the edge. Yeah. Yeah. How about this one? That one's defended, but it's green. Yeah. Yeah. There's all kinds of other themes or variations that we could do here. How about this chart right here? Oh, it's red on the background, 50% defended, boom. Yeah. Oh, it's red on the background, 50% defended, yes, boom. Yeah. I did about 3 days here. Yeah. Oh, background's green, 50% defended, yes, boom. Yeah. Background's green, 50% defended, yeah, for 3 bars, yeah, boom. That's the end of that day. Yeah. It was green, 50% defended, yes. Or sorry, red, 50% defended, yes. Boom. How about this one? Is it 50% defended? Well, it was green, you know, or it was red. Yeah. So Background's red, 50% defended, yes, boom. 50% defended, red, boom. 50% defended, green, boom. 50% defended, green, boom. No. 50% defended, red, boom. You'll notice something else about these that I hadn't pointed out is that you're generally going to get 3 lower reds, 3 higher green. 50% defended, green, yes, boom. 50% defended, yes, green, boom. 50% defended, yes, green, boom, etc. No, etc. Another day here. This one got trapped in there. 50% defended, red, boom. Okay, those markers that I put on there that you can see all those trades, we use trade markers to do that. This webinar wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for trade markers. No. Trade markers is a big change in our ability at the execution level to study what happens at the execution level. And so this is the defended order flow with trend report for the 3 days that we just did. I covered all the days on there. And so, like I said, 16 tick stop. Could you vary some of these? Sure. Yeah. I didn't put any break even or anything like that on it. Just 3 days defended order flow with trend. I got some other stats in here. The average win loss is about 1 to 1. So winners are about the same size as the losers. And high win percent, etc. Shows the favorable excursion, adverse excursion, etc. Yeah. So could we make this better? Yeah, there's different ways that we could improve this system. There's a lot of themes and variations because this is a 4-quadrant design, trading system design. Yeah. So there are actually probably infinite themes and variations. But just for within the rule set that we're already working, you could vary the trend rules a little bit. You could vary the retracement allowance. We already discussed, I already brought that up a little bit. You could interpret the trap trader oscillator to earlier relationships. That's getting kind of complex. That would be for an advanced user. Yeah. You could optimize trade management using trade markers. I did not optimize this at all. I didn't go in and play with it or anything like that. Yeah. Different money management things. And then, of course, you take that to your ATM or your Blackbird and you can work those in there. Trade markers also lets you set prop firm criteria within it. That's pretty cool. And like I said, if you've got things coded in Bloodhound or if you're coding in Bloodhound, you can feed it into trade markers and use it as research combo. Very, very powerful stuff. Yeah. So there's a lot to be said for keeping it simple and not mixing and matching, like I said before. Yeah. So why does a system like this work? Well, we're using extremely specific context or pattern classes, like I said, in which traders act consistently in a certain way. In other words, the traders that come after is relatively consistent. Yeah, you'll see that it follows through a good bit. Yeah, so it's capturing just an extremely specific situation. Yeah, now it waits for situations where traders after you enter will be inclined to defend your trade position and carry it to success. So a set of trading tools like this, you can actually make thousands of different systems using this 4-quadrant kind of an approach that we're using here. If you want to learn more about that, you go to indicatorsmart.com and it describes how 4-quadrant system design works on the home page there. Yeah. So today's webinar was a broad overview and trading system building tips that can save you a lot of trouble if you get it clear in your mind and you apply it properly. Yeah, and you apply it properly. So what tools do you need to do the exact pattern we covered in the webinar? Well, the MinPack Smart Patterns Trading System, MinPack from Indicator Smart, because we just used the Smart Super Renkos and the Trap Trader oscillator and the momentum. That's all we used in this system. Yeah. And let's see what else we have here. So when you use this 4-quadrant method that I'm basing this on, it makes it easier to design systems that'll work. Yeah. And that's why I eventually came to this. It didn't come easy. That I realized certain kinds of things work together, and these are some of them. Yeah. So what do I offer in the trading room? I teach these kinds of concepts that we're doing in here and more advanced trading technologies, trading secrets, tips, associated nuances in my trading room daily. It's not like a signal room. Now, it's not like a signal room. Our biggest focus in there is what's the market trying to do? What's the most likely direction for range expansion? What are the parties and counterparties? All the things that we've discussed today. So in the trading room, you can learn advanced market structure, advanced order flow and momentum reading techniques, how to read support and resistance, how to know where there's counterparties, market mapping, and other advanced topics for master traders, yeah, and beyond. So another great resource is our YouTube channel. A lot of traders report to me that they had success just using the YouTube channel. Yeah, and there's a lot there. Yeah, there's a lot there. You can go to YouTube and search Indicator Smart, all one word. If you put a space in there, it'll give you something else. So just Indicator Smart. But I'm going to show you how to see it on the resources. Yeah. So today's webinar had indicators and charts also from the trading room pack, but the trading room pack's got more stuff in it, like all that support and resistance and profiling and all that stuff is in there. Yeah. So today's webinar took advantage of powerful features using smart trade markers from Indicator Smart. And like I said, that was a big game changer for us and also for doing research in conjunction with Bloodhound. Yeah. So this coming Thursday, this does not interfere with Shark Week events. We are having a webinar. So we just did a defended order flow. Yeah. The one on Thursday is going to show you how to do trapping. Yeah. The trader trap traders. Yeah. So which is the original name of the oscillator. Yeah. So, but to get an invite, you can go over to indicatorsmart.com and opt in there. And you can learn some more advanced trading methods and take advantage of advanced order flow methods in that webinar. So let's take a quick look at where some of these resources might be for you. Okay, this is indicatorsmart.com. Okay, and over here you can get a free heat map indicator. If you haven't already done this, if you have, you'll get the notification. Yeah, opt in over here and you'll get an invite to the webinar. Yeah, you can read this page here for the 4 quadrants stuff, the 4-quadrant trading system design that we just covered. And then you can go to the packages page right over here, packages. I have further discounted the min pack and the trading room pack below what they are. They're already deeply discounted as of right now. That's going off on Friday. So if you're hot about doing this, do it before the weekend. Yeah. Over on this tab, you got the trading rooms. Yeah, you can learn more about the trading rooms. You can learn more about manifesting your future. I recommend that you go over there and get that ebook that I told you about how your mind works. It's very cool. Yeah, it's very cool. Get that. But you got to click through to the website. Market mapping is something that we do. That's over here. I didn't cover that in this webinar. It's a little bit bigger topic and a whole lot more that you can benefit from on the Indicator Smart website here. All the resources there can be useful for you. Okay. And yeah, let me see if there's some questions here because somehow I lost I lost our, it minimized it or something. Okay. Let me check over the questions, guys. Oh, thanks, Reza. Let me open this up. Okay. Okay. I must have done an okay job because not a lot of questions. VWAP with first and second standard deviation bands are good for inside. Yeah. Thanks, Rain. That is correct. You can also predict days ranges off of those, which is super cool. Yeah. Yeah. Super cool. D is asking, what's the difference or better about your oil trading strategies relative to other things I offer? That the reason originally that we started the trading room, as I had mentioned, I didn't decide to start a trading room. I was asked to head up a trading room, and then it turned into that. It's 11 years now. Why do we use oil? Because oil is a great market for learning because it is extremely consistent statistically, extremely consistent. Nothing's even close to it. Yeah. And so when it comes to being able to make predictions and to understand some of these concepts that I'm talking about here, oil's kind of the king of that. But any of the concepts that I teach there are working in other markets. Yeah, work in other markets. Different markets will scale a little differently. Yeah. And I hope that answers the question, D. If not, put a note in there for me and I'll get it. Yeah. But okay, so here's a question. I get this a lot. And I remember when I was asking this question, okay, the question is, what's the best way to filter signals during congestion? Okay. Hey Rob, can you give me an indicator that keeps me from getting caught up in the chop? Okay. Here's the thing about that. That's not the question. That's thinking about it kind of the other way around. So the biggest reason that you're getting congestion is because you have counterparties. I call them counterparties. I would call them inside outside. Yeah. And so let me see if I can give you an example from a chart here. This is a trading room chart. This is a 30-minute chart. Okay. So today, this is very interesting. Okay. This is very interesting. Today we opened at or about the value area low. This line right here is the value area low. Okay. When you open right on that value area low within a few ticks of it, traders going to be confused. They're going to be confused. Yeah. Because the guys above this, they want to take it up to the value area high. And the guys below this is going to trend, okay? So what happens is it comes down and it takes out the overnight low over here, which normally you'll get some kind of a reversal activity kind of there. So what I want to do is, if I'm below value and I'm opening up like this, I expect they're going to try and take it down to the overnight low and to the prior day's range extreme. Yeah, the prior day's range extreme. And I can even compute probabilities for that, which we did. Yeah. We had tagged the pivot earlier on, and so I expected that this group of traders was on my side down to S1. But then these guys faded at 2 ticks inside of that right here. Okay, it didn't make it there. I translate this over to this chart. It missed it by 2 ticks. Yeah. But then what happens is, as this comes back up inside, these guys start thinking, oh, we're going for the other side again. Yeah. You want to make sure that the parties and counterparties are not confused. Yeah. You want to make sure that you've got them on your side. Because when they're not on your side, what you're going to get is on this particular day in this market, we're getting pressing from the outsides. It's pressing from the outsides. This market is oriented to the inside. what is this? This is the balloon that you took and you stuck it underwater. It smashes to the inside. It comes up and it tries to take out the high and it doesn't and comes back inside. It comes up and it tries to take out the high again. They're pressing it back to the inside. It comes up and each time like a little lower, right? Yeah. This is the kind of stuff that can be read off of a 30-minute chart. And there's no one indicator that will show that. Why? Because these parties are not present until after. So if you want a congestion indicator, it's better to know when the market's being played from the outsides, which is congestion oriented, because that's what congestion is when the market goes back to the inside, right? So it's super important to be aware when you're in that environment. If you think you're in that environment, but you don't know, then you might just say, well, this isn't a place for me to be trading. I'm going to wait until I do know. That single decision may be some of the best things you ever do. Yeah, that you ever do. So hopefully that's useful. I know you know that, Rick. I know you know it, man. But it's hard, right? It's hard to go, no, I'm not trading here. And then you take what, Mike would refer to as the boredom trade. Yeah. And that's where you get into trouble. Yeah. But there's all different ways to slice it and dice it. Yeah. Yeah, just be able to take your eyes off the monitor. Yeah. Yeah. So today's a weird day. Why? Because AB is the range of the day. What's the probability that this is the range of the day? Today's Tuesday, yeah. It's 100% against. Yeah, that this is the range of the day from there to there. The probability of that happening is 0% by the end of the day. Yeah. So then what am I doing? I'm taking that information and I'm asking myself, well, if it's going to do that, then how will I know? You can sing the song. How will I know? Because if it looks like it's doing it, it probably will. That's one of my favorite sayings. If it looks like it's doing it, it probably will. What's the probability that it's going to expand? 100%. Now, the longer it goes without doing it, the more unpretty that becomes. But what you do is you try and trade inside and then maybe carry a runner for edges. But that 6170, 6226 are their virginity is soon to be exploited. Yeah. So any other questions, guys?
Hey, Rob, did
I
you get
hope today's
the Q&A
presentation's
window?
been useful, and yeah, off to you, Keith. Thank you.
Sorry, I just double checking. Did you get the Q&A window? Dimitri had a question there.
Oh, did Dimitri ask another one?
I wasn't sure if you got to his. It's in the Q&A
Parents.
window. A lot of presenters miss that.
Oh, here, let me. I opened the webinar chat.
Okay. And Q&A, I think, is under more when you're presenting or sharing. I don't know why they do that. So go to
More.
more and then Q&A.
Let me see if I can find
I
Dimitri.
could read it off to you. Yeah, it's no big deal.
Sure. Sure.
He says, what is the difference between your smart super Rankos and other Ranko bars?
Oh, okay. That's a great question. So, the Smart Super Renkos have some capabilities that other Renkos don't have. One, any of the reversal or continuation bars are independently scalable, so I can make it be anything I want. Yeah. But another thing that the Smart Super Renkos do is they have referencing capabilities, and part of the reason that I developed these bars was, and this is particularly applicable to somebody doing automated trading. This is a complex subject, but I'll just bring it up briefly. This kind of a patterning that you see in here, is what we call a blocks pattern. This pattern right here, if I shift this chart by one tick, the whole chart changes. Yeah. So Smart Super Renkos are capable of shifting the reference forward or back as many ticks as you want. Yeah. And so if you've got a successful day trading system, you can actually, like on a market like this, you have with this bar, you have 5 systems now. Yeah, if you're using automation, your brain can't handle it if you got like 5 charts up, all different themes and variations. But you can use a Smart Super Renko to make 5. Once you get your automated system down with Bloodhound and Blackbird, yeah, you got 5 different systems. Then on top of that, you can do referencing to the beginning of the chart. You can do referencing to Chicago Mercantile Exchange. You can do referencing to fixed numbers, and then the offsets thereof. Yeah, and so it's very, very powerful stuff. Those are the things. Yeah, so it's an infinitely variable Renko bar in more ways than most people ever imagine, because this is what we do is we figure out ways to get more out of it. Yeah, so. Oh, okay. So, Rain, on the at Indicator Smart, what I've done is I've taken if you go to the day trading systems page on the min pack and the trading room pack, I didn't want to like mess with coupon and stuff like that. So what I did was I dropped these prices even more, yeah, until Friday on both the trading room pack and the min pack. By far our most popular package is the trading room pack. There are also lease options that you can get into these stuff really inexpensively, very inexpensively. But if you want to just have them and not do because the lease is a lease purchase. There's no, if you completed it, then it's yours. Yeah, so it's just another way of getting it with a lower barrier of entry. But the trading room pack and the min pack have additional discounts that will go off on Friday. Yeah, so thanks for kind words, Terrence, Reza. See some familiar faces. Any other questions, guys? Keith, I'd like to thank you guys for having me again this year. Yeah, thank you, sir. And I hope all this was useful for you guys, and look forward to seeing you back again at Shark Week next year.
Well, we'll see about that. No, yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you. Yeah, when we asked on Discord, what regular speakers people wanted, you were way up there. So yeah, I think you're just a natural educator. Just the pacing and tone, you're just really good at that, and you back it up with your trading experience. So I think people
I appreciate that. But like I said in the beginning of the webinar, that wasn't a natural thing. I had to really work
Oh yeah,
to be able to explain some stuff. So yeah,
absolutely. Takes practice for sure.
No, Richard, those are separate things. There's people in our room that just use the room for the stats that we put out and things like that. And so those are done separately. Yeah. So, however, there are some people that use the room for the indicators. So it happens that way too. So, if you want to dip your toe in the pool, you could join the room, and then when you see that you'd really be better off having it on your screen, then you can get a lease or whatever. So, or get the pack or whatever. So, all right.
All
Okay.
right, guys.
Again,
Well, thanks for coming. We've got the next webinar, next event is Will with Pure Financial Academy at 3 p.m. Eastern, so right about 2 hours from now. So check out sharkweek.cc. Actually, let me put it in here so you have the link. This is the direct link to the site. So go and visit that, see what is coming up. He has been here before. I think it's been a little while. So come on and see what he's up to. And then I think the next 3 speakers, if I recall, are brand new to our webinar circuit overall. So they've never spoken in Shark Week. And I don't think any of the 3 coming up starting tomorrow have been in any webinar with us. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. So thanks, everyone. Any last minute comments, questions from you, Rob, or anybody else?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys in 2 hours. Cheers.